Hi! So, before I basically eviscerate the episode, though, I have a couple compliments to say about it. I do want to give my thought outs on a couple things. So obviously, if you've been following me ever since Super started, you guys know what I feel about the series. But been giving it some thought, and I realized that I found myself in a paradoxical trap, so to speak. And I'll explain why it's a paradox eventually, or it's soon. But Um, I should have never expected Super to be as good as the original manga. Um, just based off, and I think I felt this way when Super first started. And when I say original manga, I mean the original Dragon Ball manga, because obviously I knew that Toriyama wouldn't be the one, or of course he'd be writing it, but I obviously expected it. I should have expected it, or should have at least known with 100% certainty that it wasn't going to be as good as the original manga, because the original manga is Toriyama not only back when he was in his prime, but that's Toriyama by himself, him drawing and writing everything, all the speech dialogue bubbles, drawing all the panels, doing it for 520 chapters, right? And yes, it is 520 because the chapter where Future Gohan dies is unnumbered in the original manga. And so when I think about it like that, I should have known that script writers at Toei were going to be unable to replicate that level of greatness. Just because he's such a great mangaka, and you look at the quality at the anime at the time, like such as One Piece and Toriko, I knew like this wasn't going to be the best thing ever. Now, obviously, I think the quality of storytelling in general has gone up, even though Battle of Gods, in my opinion, is still the best arc in Super. The way in which they have been able to tell a self-contained episode in general, I think, has gotten better. Like, it's not as fast-paced. The characters aren't exaggerated way too much, even though they have their moments here and there. It's not as like you don't see fuck Kakarot as much in this arc as you do, like say in previous arcs, like say the Universe 6 arc, the Versus Universe 6 arc, for example. Um, so I and so even though the quality has gotten better, the scriptwriters obviously haven't been able to replicate that. And so, based off of that, and like the beginning of One Piece and Toriko, or the beginning of Super compared to One Piece and Toriko at the time in 2015, like I should have known. Like I was probably gonna have some misgivings about it, but I didn't think it was gonna be this bad. You know. The other thing is that, and this is where the paradox thing comes in, is that even when we saw Toriyama's original script without the influence of anyone else, it's still bad, whether it was the Resurrection F or the Zamasu stuff, right? And so that's the paradoxical stuff, because it was implying that if Toriyama had did this by himself, Super would still be as good. And now that we've seen the original scripts for Resurrection F, and we saw him write Frieza being able to come back and all this stuff, even though he did say that he didn't plan on this becoming a movie, the fact that he still wrote the script and that it happened is still indicative of how firm a hand he has in doing these kinds of things, right? Um, and you look at it, and he and the other funny thing is that people still find the manga to be worse than the anime, despite the fact that Toriyama and Toyotaro has said that Toriyama checks his scripts and checks his drafts and checks all his layouts, and he still writes that. Um, and even with that, so even though Toriyama has a bigger hand in creating the manga than he does the anime, and he actually helps to create the manga in some respect, in some capacity, beyond just providing just like a plot outline, right? It's still amazing to me that people still consider the anime better than the manga. Not amazing in the sense that you're not allowed to like the anime over the manga, or that you're not allowed to like the manga over the anime, or vice versa. It's just that people say like, oh, Toriyama is like, people like praise Toriyama, and if they like Super, and if they don't like Super, like whatever it is, right? So it's amazing to me that people like they think Toriyama is like amazing for writing Super, yet the version that is closest, the version that he has the most power, or not power, but the version that he has the most hand in trying to craft, trying to make, which is the manga, as Toyotaro's interviews have said on multiple times, people still enjoy the anime over that. And so that's the paradoxical nature. That's another reason why it's paradoxical. And I mean, it's been 2 years, right? Or almost 2.5. Yeah, almost 2.5 years. No, not 2.5. 2 1/3 of a year. I think it started in July of 2015, right? June of 2015, something like that. So it's around like a third and 2 1/3, 2.5 years since then. And it's amazing. It's just to think about it like that. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. Just thinking about like the journey, and it's only 2 years, so I wouldn't even really say it's like 2 years is still a long time, but anyway, that's one thing I want to talk about. The other thing I wanted to talk about is now, like, a lot of people have been trying to deflect the problems of Super onto Z, saying like, oh, Z is not that much better than Super, or oh, Z is doing the same thing Super did because Go and it really comes with like kale and cauliflower as of late, because obviously, as we can see, not that I really had a problem with them achieving Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2 the way they did, besides the whole back bullshit. Besides that, I mean, just the impetus behind it and them getting as strong as whatever, right? I wish that the reasons were a lot more hard-hitting and a lot more emotional, a lot more dramatic, like, say, when he saw Krillin die, or with Vegeta when he just didn't give a fuck anymore, or when Trunks when he saw Gohan die, or Gohan when he cursed his own uselessness, at least in anime filler, right? In the manga, we don't know we don't know the reason or what made him angry enough to go Super Saiyan, right? And obviously that reason was replicated enough in Kale, which is why I didn't have a problem with that. But it's so much more like the power scaling and people saying like, oh, isn't that what happened to Gohan or this and that? And so like it really started with like kale and cauliflower, I feel, because because like obviously me being a super hater, not because I want to be a super hater, just because I'm watching the stuff and I'm criticizing it. And in my opinion, it's bad. And so far, I haven't seen any like valid response to any of my criticisms, right? And so, and that's not me. That's not me trying to be arrogant. That's just me just saying. And so I see all these things, and then people are trying to say, oh, like, isn't this what Gohan did when he transformed against Cell? Oh, he just got mad enough and unlocked it. Why isn't that why don't you consider that bullshit and not what happens in Super? And the reason is because there's actual logic behind why that happened, right? The problem with Super is that yes, you can have characters get stronger than others, right? And I was watching, so shout out to Son TJ, right? And he made this video called "If Dragon Ball Z Came Out Today." And I thought it was a good video, definitely edited better than mine, and I got the idea. I got the general point of what he was saying in that video, right? Like, a lot of people are complaining about Super, saying they're going to drop this or it's shit, and they still continue to watch it, right? And I'm like that. I 100% unabashedly, unashamedly say that. I hate Super. I don't think it's a good show at all. I don't think it's a good series at all. Yet I still continue to watch it, and the reason why is because ultimately, I'm a Dragon Ball fan at the end of the day. I watch Super the same reason I watched Dragon Ball Evolution. I watched Super the same reason I watched Dragon Ball GT. I knew these things. I didn't like these things when I was watching them, right? I knew Dragon Ball Evolution was going to be shit the moment I saw it. Yet I still wanted to see it because I am a Dragon Ball fan at the end of the day. I still want that information and that knowledge of what happens in the show, because I just want to know like what's going on, right? Just for my own satisfaction as a Dragon Ball fan, I'm willing to put up with shit just to know like what that shit is, right? And even GT is like that. I didn't really like GT when I was a kid. I'm sure I liked Super Saiyan 4. And of course, back when I was a kid, I was nowhere near as critical as I am now in November 5th, 2017. Yeah, of course. Like I didn't think about things like how I do now, obviously. But just from an enjoyment factor, I just didn't like GT as much as I did Z, right? And it was because of things like the Evil Dragon. Like I posted it on my Twitter, right? I posted on my Twitter that the Goku and the Oceanus Shenron fight, right? Goku or Oceanus Shenron, the 6-star dragon, if that's what we should call her. That's what we should call him. Excuse me, because she is actually a he, but you watch that episode and just not even the fight in itself, just the writing, the animation, and all that is just bad. And I remember that episode sticking out to me when I was young. I thought, like, okay, yeah, like that's a terrible episode. That's a trash episode. And that was I remember like moments like that why I didn't like GT when I was a kid. So when I hear like people say like, oh, like this is gonna happen, and like this is the same thing that happened in Z, it's not really. And people are, and especially with Cauliflower and Kale, I'm referencing, the reason I'm talking about them the most is because like they're the Saiyans, and they've gotten Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2 relatively quickly. And obviously with this episode, because when she transformed into or when they fused into Kefla and now she's Super Saiyan God level, they're saying like, oh, Dragon Ball Z had power scaling problems too, and it's like, no, Dragon Ball Z never fucked the power scaling like this. It didn't. It didn't. It didn't. And the reason I was talking about Sun TJ's videos, he was talking about, say, like Yamcha and Tien being able to catch up to Goku when they trained with Kami, right, for the Saiyan arc. And again, it's not so much a criticism. It's not so much a criticism of the video, because the point of the video wasn't that. The point of the video is like people watch it, yet they say they're going to drop it. And I'm not like that. I hate Super, but I'm not going to drop it because I just want that knowledge, right? And I'm straying away from my point a little bit, but I kind of liken it to, say, like Star Wars fans. Star Wars fans, if you know anything about Star Wars, they pretty much, a faithful Star Wars fan will tell you that the prequel trilogy is shit, right? But they still watched it, and they still even continue to rewatch it because it's still Star Wars at the end of the day. If you're a Batman fan or a Superman fan, Batman versus Superman, or Dawn of Justice is kind of the same way, right? So or The Dark Knight Rises, if you want to go by like the Nolan stuff. Or if, for me, I'm a Metal Gear fan, like Metal Gear Solid 5. I played through that, and I replayed missions even after I beat the game. So it's not, so you can still hate something, but still continue to like go through it multiple times. Anyway, back to what I was saying about Sun TJ's video, about that example in particular, right? And he was saying like oh, this is bullshit because and the perception that I got from it, right? The perception I got from that when I was watching it was that these were moments that should be criticized, or that they should be talked about in Dragon Ball Z as being bullshit. And to me, they aren't. To me, they aren't. And the reason is because what Super does differently from Z is that the jump from power, when you have like a weaker character, say like Krillin or Yamcha or whoever, right? And then they go to like a very top tier character, like say like Ultimate. We'll take Krillin versus Ultimate Gohan for example, right? The reason why we called, I think, anyone who's like very finely attuned to Dragon Ball, and I think Sun TJ is like that too, right? To Dragon Ball strength or power scaling or whatever. The reason we would call that bullshit is because the jump is way bigger. When something happened like with Tien and Yamcha and Chaozu and Krillin back in the Saiyan arc, the jump really wasn't that big. Sure, Goku was much more stronger than them, right? But there wasn't any like stepping stones or opponents or people who you could consider stepping stones, right? That were in the middle of that, because Raditz was already stronger. Raditz was already stronger than both Goku and Piccolo at that point, right? Of course. So you had the humans, you had Raditz, Goku and Piccolo, and then you had Raditz, right? And then you have Raditz and the Cyberman, and then Nappa or whatever, right? We'll just say the Cyberman because the crux of that point was that they shouldn't be able to fight Raditz in a year's time. But if you notice the gulf in power from the humans to Cyberman at the time, it's very small. There are achievable steps to get to that point. In the case of Krillin and Gohan, you don't have that. You have way too many steps. You have Krillin, you have the Ginyu Force, then you have Frieza, then you have Android 17 and 18, then 16, then Cell, then Pui Pui and Yakan, Yakan and Dabura, who are all stronger than Namek Arc Frieza, right? Kaioshin, who is stronger than Frieza. Then Buu in all his various forms. Then you have Gotenks, Gohan, Vegeta, right? Goku, Vegeta in general, Trunks, right? Super Saiyan 2 level people. So that's the difference, right? That's the difference when you criticize, say, like something in Z and something in Super. Because the problem with Super is that it's trying too hard to make side characters relevant, like Krillin and Roshi, right? The gulf in power between someone like Chaozu and Buu, you look at all the people in between where you can like rank them in terms of strength. That list is high as fuck, right? But the difference is that when I go to the Saiyan arc, if I look at Krillin, if I look at the humans, I then have Goku and Piccolo, Raditz, and Cyberman. See, So it's just, I just have to get to this point and then that, and then to this point. I just have to go 2 stepping stones. Whereas in the case of Krillin and Ultimate Gohan, when they were training in that filler episode of Super, well, I assume it's filler. We'll see if that happens in the manga, which I'm pretty sure it won't. But you have to go through like what, like 10, 20 different steps, and just to jump that because I am more experienced, a kind of bullshit explanation like that is very disbelieving. It's very not disbelieving, unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So that's the point that I feel like many people don't understand when we criticize Super. It's either that, or I feel like they're just a Super apologist. And I don't think Son TJ is a Super apologist. No, he's cool. I like his videos, even though I don't really watch people's videos too much. I think he's cool, but like when I see like people on Twitter, right, that I've known since Kanzenshu days, and then they try to defend Super the way that they have, it kind of like I kind of call into question their intelligence when it comes to understanding Dragon Ball, because it seems like people who only like Dragon Ball, or people who don't even like Dragon Ball, right? I know people who don't even like Dragon Ball who can understand why the power scaling in Super is far worse and why the power is far worse than the power scaling in Z. For instance, I know someone who likes Hunter x Hunter, right? Doesn't really like Shonen too much, and he can understand why power scaling in Super, right, is not as it's not as consistent, and it doesn't make as much sense as it does power scaling in Z, because at least in Z there was the next level. You went 1 step, then 1 step, then 1 step, then 1 step, then 1 step. But like I was saying, in the case of Krillin and Gohan, he's jumping steps. In trying to have Roshi fight instead of Gotenks, you're jumping steps. You understand? So yeah. Anyway, I've gone on 17 minutes. You know what? I'm actually gonna actually, you know what? No, I'll just leave this as one video. Fuck it. I'll leave this as one video, because then that way people will be able to like I don't know. You can play this in the background and listen or some shit. Anyway, let's actually get to the actual episode to begin with. Okay. Anyway. So this episode is pretty much my feelings on the TV special, the art, and well, actually, no, I would say it's probably better than the special. I feel definitely better than the special, because the art was much better, and so that's what it shared with the special, and that the animation was cool, and like the colors and stuff were pretty cool. The art was good. In this episode, and I know people are a stickler for now between like art and animation, because everyone is just like a Sakuga enthusiast now, right? An animation enthusiast. So I'll do my best to differentiate between art and animation, right? Which I think is funny, because everyone that's been following me knows that I linked that animation styles guide from Kanzenshu like many years ago in a live stream, and I was explaining like the differences between like Yukio Ibisawa and his triangular style, and Kazuya Hisada, who's probably my favorite, and you know how good Yamamura used to be back in the day. Anyway, I'm getting and Minoru Maeda and all that. Anyway, so I'll do my best to like just to make that particular distinction. But yeah, so I'll start with good things about the episode. The art was amazing. The art was really good. Yuya Takahashi, and people were saying on Twitter, but he has to replace Yamamura at this point, right? And I hope he does, just because like his work this episode was absolutely incredible. Also drink root beer. 1 sec. Right, and so that was one thing that's one general thing I liked about the episode. Now we'll go into more specific, and we'll go through the episode like from minute 1 to the last minute. So I thought the episode was trash in general when it came to the writing. And even though I did enjoy there were 2 moments that I enjoyed here and there. So obviously, if you guys watched my last episode review, you know that I hated when Caulifla was saying, or sorry, not Caulifla, when Kale was transforming into her Broly form, right? And the reason that this is bad writing was because the entire point of Kale fighting was for her to be able to control that form, right? It was because when she transforms into that, she's not able to distinguish between ally and enemy, and so she just starts like going nuts and attacking like anything and everything, right? So for her to, and then she was able to control that when she fought the Pride Troopers, and for whatever reason now she just goes back to willfully going berserk for I don't even know the fucking reason. She just goes berserk. That's shit writing, however you want to justify that. It's bad. The entire point of her fighting and training was to be able to control it. And she finally was able to control it, and then for whatever reason, she just goes back to being Berserk. And now she again has to try and control it for whatever reason, right? So that was bullshit. But now Caulifla is going amazing, right? If you guys watch like the first like 1 or 2 minutes of the episode, Caulifla goes like Sugoi, like amazing when she knows Kale transforming into this Broly form is detrimental to her team because she has no qualms attacking her allies, right? So obviously, Kale can't distinguish, and then she attacks Caulifla, and now there's some like lame ass emotional flashback that's being inserted, right? And this is bad for a number of reasons. One, the music is bad. But two, it's referencing a fucking inconsequential scene that played in last week's episode, right? Meaning that if I watch last week's episode, right, and this episode back to back, this scene didn't even happen 5 minutes apart, right? How are you going to put a scene that didn't even happen 5 minutes apart? How are you going to insert that in as a flashback, as a meaningful emotional flashback? Trying to strengthen the bond between Kale and Caulifla. That's whack, right? And Caulifla's speech here is also caused by the lamest thing ever. Because like I said, Kale transforming like this has already happened once before where she actually controlled it. Caulifla is saying like, oh, you were so strong, and then you got so strong when you transformed into this and everything. Like, that's lame. That's bad. And then she's finally able to control it because of Caulifla's Nakama speech. And then Goku has this really trash line of dialogue about her Saiyan instinct making him shake, right? So like his hands are shaking, and he's saying that it's her Saiyan instinct. And so I had to do like a double take on this because I have no idea what he means. What do you mean her Saiyan instinct is making you shake? Her Saiyan instinct is making you shake? If anything, like I don't understand like why this is like, how does she even showcase Saiyan instinct, right? At least at that point. She showcases like enthusiasm for a fight like later on in the episode. But this tells me that Yamaguchi, who was writing the episode, doesn't know like how to write dialogue, which is funny because I had said, but it's funny because I had said Toshio Yoshitaka and Yamaguchi were the best writers on the show, right? Just in terms of like how consistent they kept the characters to their Z cells, right? To their Z selves. And as soon as I said that, both Toshio and Yamaguchi write shit episodes. This being Yamaguchi's shit episode, because he or she has only, I'm pretty sure it's a he, has only written 2 episodes before this. I think it's 106 and 101, or not 106. It's 96 and 101 maybe. I think that's it. Which were both all right, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I know I'm not mistaken because I said that he was an all right writer. But yeah, so that's happening, right? And that shows me that he doesn't understand that because Goku shakes because of his own Saiyan instinct, right? He doesn't get excited fighting, like necessarily fighting another Saiyan. They got to be strong enough, right? So the line should have been changed to, wow, I can feel this power. This is making me tremble with excitement, or something like that. Don't say that Kale Saiyan instinct is making you shake. Like, what is that? What does that even mean? So anyway, they start to fight. And I personally think the fight is trash as hell because the music and just the moves in general most of the moves used were not very impactful, or it seemed too try hard at times to be like an homage or a callback to something like in the past. And I'll give you an example. It's a very trivial piece of dialogue, but why does Goku apologize for using Ten Shinhan's Taiyoken, right? Tien's solar flare? Why does Goku apologize for that? Like, I'm just trying to think, like, what would compel someone, if you're writing an episode, to have Goku say sorry for using the solar flare, right? Like, why? What? Why? You know? Like, Krillin didn't say that when he used that against Dodoria, you know? So it's just like I'm like, what would compel someone in their mind to have Goku say sorry for using the solar flare? And people have been like asking me like why I'm focusing so much on the dialogue. Because the reason is because the reason I've never talked about dialogue, say in something like Yu Yu Hakusho or Yakuza or whatever, is because the dialogue there, right? It's not cringy, and it's not strange, and it's not off-putting. When you write an episode, your character, it has to be natural. They have to speak naturally, and it has to feel like it's from the heart, right? It has to feel genuine. Goku saying sorry for using the solar flare isn't genuine dialogue. That's not. What's the need to apologize for that? And again, it's a very trivial piece of dialogue, right? It's not like it's some like major plot point in the episode or anything, but it's little pieces of dialogue like that that have been abundant in fucking Super. Not only the anime, even the manga. I remember what I said in the manga when Vegito acknowledged Zamasu laughing like a psycho, and I explained like why that was trash. This is the same thing here, right? So yeah, so Cauliflower and Kale versus Goku I thought was pretty bad, and it's like there was a kind of cool moment where Kale grabs Goku's arm, and then Cauliflower's like boxing and punching him, but that's just so strange to me. She's like think about it. Like Goku's standing like this, right? Kale is grabbing his arm, and he's just like this. He's standing like this, and then getting like pummeled like in the fucking stomach. Like, isn't that such a strange position? And then this bitch Cauliflower is just like this, taking like a boxing stance and like talking for like 30 seconds, and then hitting him, and Goku's just like standing there. The fuck, you know? And I think that's the case, like, when I think about, like, Z, and even GT, and Dragon Ball, for that matter, you know, they didn't have, like, awkward scenes like that. There might have been one scene that kind of, like, made me, like, I'm not sure this flows too well. And that was in the Dragon Ball manga. That was Goku versus Frieza. And it was this one move where Frieza, in his final form, right? Or in his 100% form, on Namek, he does this move like this, and he sends like a ki-eye, like a ki-eye shockwave to Goku as a Super Saiyan, and you can see like the gravity marks on him when he gets hit by it. To me, that was kind of like that to me was like a panel and an attack. Not the attack. The placement of the attack, the timing of that attack just felt very weird to me at that particular point in the fight. And so this is kind of like that. I mean, he's just like standing there, he's like, I'm getting hit. I'm just like waiting to get hit, basically. So yeah, I thought the fight was trash. But like I said, the art was cool. I liked the art. And one of the few things I liked about the episode was Katepesla, I think. He's tight. He's one of the few Toei. I assume he's only going to be in the anime. He might be in the manga. We'll see. But for now, I'm just going to assume that he's like one of the side characters that Toei came up with on their own. He's tight. Though I wish, like I said, I wish Super didn't overuse the Power Ranger Justice shtick like everything else in the show. And so I said before that I said in my last episode review that one of the problems with Super is that it overdoes one trait. It takes one thing from a character or a situation or whatever, and overuses that said thing over and over and over again. And in this case, it's the Power Ranger / Justice shtick, right? Because if we go back to Dragon Ball Z, we've had Ginyu Force, right? Then we've had Great Saiyaman. Then we've had the Pride Troopers. Then Ribrianne. Then Toppo saying justice all over again. And now we have Katepesla, who is now like a policeman superhero like thing, right? So that shtick needs to like die and just stop being used. Like even Goku Black, the inspiration for Goku Black, like even existing, was Kamen Rider Black, as it was said in the Toyotaro Toriyama interview. So I like it. I just don't want that trait. I'm just kind of mad that the same thing has been being overused. His speed form is also cool. I like the speed form, like the red color. But the ability to me, I think, is just fucking retarded. And this is another case where Toei, or maybe Super, or I won't say Toei, Super in general, because even the mangas is guilty of this, right? This 300 times speed ability is bad. It's trash. Characters in this franchise since Dragon Ball Part 1 can already move fast enough that they go around the planet in seconds. They can cause after images, right? Plus, speed by itself is it's another trait. It's another case of Super overdoing something again, right? Birder was the only character in OG Dragon Ball, right, whose speed was complimented on, like, as though it was, like, his main trait, right? Like, Birder, you remember Birder because, like, he was a fast character, right? Or, like, that was his main shtick. That was his significant thing, right? Now, in Super, we've had, like, oh, I can do 300 times speed, because we've already had Dispo who can move at the speed of light. So what the fuck is the point of Katep right? What the fuck is that, right? Katep now can move super fast. It's just like a stupid ability. It's so bad. Like, these numbers don't mean anything, right? When you can already, like, go, like, even Shunkan right? Instant transmission, even though that technically isn't speed, it's more like teleportation. Even that's indicative of what I'm talking about. Who cares if you can go 500, 100, 256 million times, whatever? That's just stupid abilities to have. You know? Thankfully, and this is the other moment that I like, was Frieza. He had the appropriate response and just said, I'm going to ignore it, right? One other moment I liked was Goku using a ki blast from his foot, right? That was neat. But again, it feels like Super is trying too hard to come up with homages, especially in this episode, because later he uses the Sokidan, because or the Spirit Ball for you dub guys, because he's using his hand to, like, make it track. So yeah, to me this just really felt like a lot of, like, it felt like a lot of, like, Dragon Ball. Like, it was like Tien and Yamcha, Dragon Ball Part 1. It was like a lot of Tien and Yamcha stuff in here, with the Sokidan, the Taioken, and all that, and the key foot blast that Goku used when he used the Kamehameha, the feet Kamehameha. Remember that? So yeah, but this episode is also trash because Caulifla and Kale, like I said before, they're getting really annoying with their constant exuberance. Like, I just want Goku and Frieza to just, like, fucking, like, wreck the shit out of them, right? Because just hearing them speak, the way that they speak, particularly in this episode, is just, like, it grates my nerves. It's just like, Sokada! And then they just be, like, so, like, fucking enthusiastic over and over and over again. You know, when Frieza showed up, I just wanted him to beat the shit out of them so bad. Like, go Golden Frieza, fuck them up, right? The other thing, and then so, you know, Goku stops Frieza from interfering, and a bad moment happens here. Like, why does Frieza threaten to shoot Goku with a ki attack behind his back? You know? It's like, and it's kind of like the piece of dialogue that I was talking about earlier with the Taioken, and that it's a very small moment, right? It's a small moment. It doesn't happen for more than, say, like 5 seconds, right? It's a very small moment, but it still happened, and that should never happen, because it doesn't make any sense. Why would Frieza? I understand he hates Goku, right? He hates Vegeta, he hates Saiyans, he hates everyone on the team. But why would he do that to someone who he needs help from to help him win? Right? With Vegeta, like, he just let him do what he wanted back in the day in Namek. Like, you need this guy to help you win, to achieve your goal at the end of the day, which is apparently to control the gods, whatever that means, right? Why would you try to shoot him in the back when he is your strongest fighter? Bad shit writing there. And this is, like, really where the episode starts to turn to shit. Goku somehow gets the stamina to go Super Saiyan God because, you know, no reason. It's cool, and we need no logical explanation, right? Like back in OG Dragon Ball. Goku somehow gets the stamina to go Super Saiyan God. So he's a Super Saiyan 2, right? And he's fighting like well enough somehow against Caulifla and Kale to regain enough ki to go Super Saiyan God, when in the previous episode he couldn't even maintain 3 for like 3 seconds, 5 seconds maybe, 10 seconds at best, I would say. So yeah, he just goes Super Saiyan God because no reason, shit writing, bad writing. You know, this is gonna be cool, and we'll talk about like the stamina fraction problem when Kefla shows up, right? There was a cool moment when he does go Super Saiyan God, though. Goku goes Yusuke on us, and he pulls out like a spirit gun-like thing, a ray gun. I like that. That was good. But once again, we have more power scaling problems. Kale in her Broly form is able to compete with Super Saiyan God Goku, even though she does ultimately quote-unquote lose in the end, right? The reason this is a power scaling problem is because Super Saiyan God Goku should be bitch slapping her around with an iota. He should be exuding no effort to bitch slap Broly, right? He should be exuding no effort to bitch slap Kale or Caulifla as regular Super Saiyan 2s, right? And if you're one of those guys who are going to be like, oh, power scaling doesn't matter, well, you guys already know how I feel about that. I've explained time and time over again why if you say that power scaling doesn't matter, then you're a fucking idiot. You just don't know what Dragon Ball is about, right? No matter how much you want to deny it, I mean, if you want to have Chaozu kill Beerus because power scaling doesn't matter to you, then okay, yeah, no reason to take you seriously. But the fact that Kale, it's like Trunks in his Super Saiyan form fighting Zamasu, when Zamasu was like beating back Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and Super Saiyan Rose and Super Saiyan Rose Black for that matter. It's the same thing here. For some reason, she can like go toe to toe with him, and obviously they both are exuding effort because again they're like grunting and screaming in rage and effort, and she's able to block one of God Goku's ki blasts somehow. And people are saying like, oh, but Goku's tired, and it's a double-edged sword because you're wrong on two accounts. One, he's not tired because he has enough stamina to go Super Saiyan God. You can't be tired and go Super Saiyan God like that. That doesn't make any fucking sense. No. The other thing is that even if he was tired, that still wouldn't make sense. It still wouldn't make sense because I brought it up before. Cell in his second form versus 16, right? Barely exuded any strength to defeat 16 in one blow. Cell in his perfect form after he absorbed 18 barely broke a sweat when he defeated Krillin, right? If you're massively stronger than someone else, it doesn't matter if you're tired or not. You should like flick them in an instant. And that's what it is. Like even Boo, when Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks was beating on him, and then Gotenks diffused, in anime, and not even in anime filler, even in the manga, Boo was confident enough that he would, like, he was toying with him. He was fucking toying with him. After they had exuded ki as Super Saiyan 3 and regular Super Saiyan. Even before that, in the Room of Spirit and Time, remember Boo with the milkshake? All these attacks was flicking him away like he was nothing. And so for that reason, Kale in Broly form should be getting like her fucking like tits ripped off. That's what should be happening. But no, we're not getting that. We're getting this because they need some. They don't care about sensible writing, and they have to make it exciting. So they're willing to throw out. They're willing to disregard logic, just because something is fun. And now we get to the worst moment in the episode, the Potara. Simply bullshit. For many reasons. No items were allowed in the tournament, and yet again the rule has been broken since Roshi could use the Mafaba, obviously. But it's like I said before, it doesn't matter if the rule has been broken. Every time the rule has been clearly violated, it doesn't matter if it's been violated once before and they disregard it. It doesn't fucking matter. It's still a problem. It's still a problem. It's still a problem. It's like I said, no flying, yet Goku and Jiren were flying, right? So many characters have been flying in these episodes. All these rules have been broken, and that's the reason why it's bullshit. The other reason why this is kind of trash writing is because Champa was calling this a trump card. At least Caulifla has enough Saiyan instinct to want good fights before fighting, like, before having to do anything, right? She's like Goku and Vegeta in the sense that she'll want to fight one-on-one. She has enough Saiyan instinct to want to do that, right? But this should be something that should be used from the get-go. Just answer me this. What's the point of saving the Potara? What's the point of saving the Potara? Why would you want to, if you're not a Saiyan, for example, right? Like say like why would Kale save it, right? And I mean I guess she has no choice because Caulifla herself has to put the ring on or put the earring on. But it's not like Caulifla is so much like Goku and Vegeta that she would like outright refuse it. The fuck? So calling the Potara a trump card to me, or like it's like this thing that you pull out at the last minute, doesn't make sense to me. Why would you wait around to pull out the Potara at the last minute after you're so like exhausted and everything? That doesn't make any sense. And that is what Goku and Vegeta did in the anime at one point, right? And obviously, like they regained their ki, when they fused in Vegeta, they lost all the fatigue and the damage they had taken from Buu after he absorbed Gohan. And reminder, this is all anime only because in the manga they immediately fuse, right? After Goku tells them about Bulma and Trunks, and so they regain their ki and their loss of and they have a loss of damage and stuff after they do that. But again, that's anime only. But there's no reason to want to intentionally save the Potara until the very end, unless you're like Goten and Trunks who want to make it like super cool with the Super Saiyan 3 and stuff in the Buu arc. And Caulifla and Kale are not like Goten and Trunks. You can already be the super strong Kefla motherfucker without inhibition. There's no ki drain. You have this bullshit 1 hour retcon that's super introduced, and the match is 48 minutes, right? Which brings me to my next point, right? So that point was like, there's no reason they should have been saving this. They should have used it from the get-go, just taken out as many people as they can, right? And that brings me to my next point. Her being stronger than Super Saiyan God Goku is bullshit. And we'll talk about like Goku being tired. Well, actually, we don't need to talk about Goku being tired because I already explained like even if Goku was tired, or even if he didn't have that much strength, he should still be able to bitch slap the shit out of someone else, right? Like Vegeta with Yajirobe. That's another example, right? Or Vegeta with Krillin, or Vegeta with Gohan. And I shouldn't have to explain why Caulifla being stronger than Super Saiyan God Goku, even if he is tired or not tired, right? It's either or. I mean, there's no way to tell because honestly, like you can say he's tired just because Super makes no sense, or you can say he's not tired because he's been able to transform into Super Saiyan God Goku. But anyway, the point is, Kefla being stronger than Super Saiyan God Goku is bullshit, and I shouldn't have to explain why, but I will just so that I don't get any cancer in the comments and on Twitter anymore. Caulifla and Kale by themselves are Super Saiyan 2 level, right? We know this because Caulifla was handled by Kale was handled by, in her Broly form, was handled by Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla way back when they first transformed with the tingly back bullshit, remember that? The other thing is that obviously Kale is based off of Broly. I mean, obviously that's the case, right? And in Broly's case, the only Super Saiyan 2 he was able to beat was Gohan in movie 10. And yes, Gohan was a Super Saiyan 2 in movie 10 because of his hairstyle. There was a clear indication between Super Saiyan Gohan and Super Saiyan 2 Gohan in the art character design sheets for movie 10. So yes, Gohan was a Super Saiyan 2 in Dragon Ball Z movie 10, Broly's Second Coming in dub. He was a Super Saiyan 2, right? He was a Super Saiyan and then he transformed into Super Saiyan 2. He was a Super Saiyan 2. So Broly, that's the only Super Saiyan 2 he was able to beat, right? Obviously, Caulifla or Kale is a different character, right? And she's not Broly. But the fact that she is based off of him, and the fact that she was able or struggling and was beaten in some sense, not even in some sense, she was beaten by Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla, means that they are Super Saiyan 2 tier opponents, right? Goku back in the Buu arc was a Super Saiyan 3 when he fused with Vegeta. Or, he wasn't a Super Saiyan 3 when he fused with Vegeta. He had the ability to transform into a Super Saiyan 3 when he fused with Vegeta to make Vegeta, right? So if Goku and Vegeta were stronger than both, or together as a pair, they were stronger than both Caulifla and Kale now, naturally that would mean the fusion between Goku and Vegeta would be stronger than Kefla, right? That would mean Kefla should be beneath Vegito, especially because Vegito benefits from a power increase of both Goku and Vegeta being rivals. Remember the Kaioshin said that, the old Kaioshin? The fact that they are rivals makes them that much more stronger. Remember that? So they get a power increase because they're both rivals, right? Now, in Battle of Gods, we know Super Saiyan God Goku is above Vegeta, right? For one reason. Because Goku knows from the get-go, after he loses to Beerus on Kaio's planet, that fusion won't work against Beerus. However, when he goes Super Saiyan God, he believes he has a chance, right? So that's one reason. The other reason is just the idea of God Ki being a thing, right? Obviously, though, in later arcs, we get people like Frieza who can be above a God Ki without having people. I can't even speak English, right? Let me take water. One sec. Right. So, just to reiterate, the one reason, obviously, like I said, we know Super Saiyan God Goku is above Vegito because Super Saiyan God Goku, Goku believes he has a chance in that form, whereas he knows he won't win as Vegito, right? Second reason is like God Ki is a thing. Though in later arcs, people like Frieza can be above God Ki having people, despite not having God Ki themselves, like Golden Frieza is above Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta in the Resurrection F arc, at least, right? So, once again, Super fucks the power scaling up, producing a plot hole and indefensible, shitty writing. Congratulations. It's a very abusive relationship with Super. And I said this in the live stream yesterday, but Super is like, you take a key, right? And say like, you like stabbing, or not stabbing yourself, let's say, this fucking trophy, right? Let's say you accidentally get hit by it in the head, right? It's not too hard, right? But like this keeps on happening over and over again, and these are the repetitive hits represent all the repetitive bad moments in Super in all 114 episodes. That's what that is. It builds up, and it becomes shit in the end. So yeah, terrible episode, though there were a couple good points. Like I said, the Yuya Takahashi is a fucking god. The Frieza stuff was alright, even though he had one bullshit moment when he tried to attack Goku behind his back, and Katepsa is fine. So if you guys wanted a rating from me, because I know some people want like numbers, I'd say like it's a 2 or 3 out of 10. Because the writing is trash. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. This has been going on for 48 minutes. I hope this keeps you guys entertained. I will see you guys next time. Bye.